with respect to the prep cycle, because previous year questions பொறுத்தவரை and with respect to UPSC prelims, as many years as possible, sometimes even questions dating back to 25 years. So this was the prep cycle with respect to the resources that I used. மீதி இருக்கிற subjects like say ethics, அதுக்கு வந்து I think lexiconல இருக்கிற definitions along with some top answer copies and previous year question papers or reference material like say Shunya I.A.S or the solved papers and CSAT previous year questions. So these were my kind of resources that I kind of used. And with respect to doing these resources, I think almost 3 weeks per subject for the larger ones, and maybe disaster management, security, polar, short subjects, I think 2-3 days, because Mains 365 is hardly over 100 to 150 pages max. And
இப்போ இருக்கிற டிஎன்பிசி ட்ரெண்டுக்கு ஏற்ற மாதிரி புதுசாக அப்டேஷன் ஆகி வந்திருக்கு. பேராசிரியர் கா வெங்கடேசன் அவர்களுடைய இந்த தமிழ்நாடு நவீன காலம் தற்காலம் இந்த 2 புத்தகம் 700 ரூபாய். இதை வாங்குறவங்களுக்கு இந்த திருக்குறள் கட்டுரை முழுவதும் இலவசமாக தராங்க. 300 ரூபாய் மதிப்புள்ளது. வர்த்தமானன் பதிப்பகம் மிக மிக மலிவான விலையில தான் போடுவாங்க. கொரியர் சார்ஜ் இலவசம்.
யூத் பேப்பரின் இனிய வணக்கம்.
யூத் பேப்பர் நண்பர்கள் அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். நான் டாக்டர் பிரசாந்த். MBBS மெட்ராஸ் மெடிக்கல் காலேஜில் முடிச்சிருந்தேன் 2016 to 2022 பேட்ச். அண்ட் லாஸ்ட் இயர் UPSC CSE 2023 எக்ஸாம் 2024 பேட்ச்சில் ஆல் இண்டியா ரேங்க் 78 வாங்கியிருந்தேன். அண்ட் MBBS கிராஜுவேட் பண்ணி அரௌண்ட் 8.5 months தான் was my journey time to or the cycle into UPSC and 1 year of the exam. So அந்த எக்ஸாமில் வந்து கிளியர் பண்ணி I'm right now in the I.A.S. So இப்போ I'm posted as Assistant Collector and Special Judicial Magistrate, Coimbatore. So UPSC preparation and MBBS cycle பொறுத்தவரை MBBS is of 6-year journey, and என்னோட internshipல தான் I kind of decided that I should pursue the UPSC civil services. And அதுக்கு அடுத்து with respect to entering the preparation cycle, August 3, 2022 இப்போ தான் அந்த டேட்டில் தான் வந்து I started my preparation, and around May 26, 2024, that's when my prelims was there. So in the journey la vandu I think I had the shortest journey also because the number of resources and the books that I followed was pretty less, but doing a particular resource I think multiple times was my key, and that is what I generally followed as well. So UPSC la பொறுத்தவரை I think ஒரு particular resource, even if it's a smaller resource, doing it multiple times is ideal. Second thing is about identifying what to study and what to read. So standard books தான் I would suggest, and Political Lakshmikant, Modern India Spectrum, Ancient and Medieval 11 and 12 NCRTs, Geographic PMF I.A.S or material along with class 11 and 12 NCRTs, and Economics Shriram I.A.S or material. This is what I followed for the major subjects. Art and Culture வந்து Nitin Singhaniala I think selected chapters like say Architecture, second chapter on paintings, and then Literature, so UNESCO World Heritage Sites. இந்த மாதிரி chapters வந்து செலக்டிவாக நான் பார்த்துருந்தேன். And with respect to current affairs, reading newspapers, and the first couple of months I tried doing it, but it was a large exercise because almost 1 to 2 hours adle poirum, and adlande vara utility value was pretty less. So I resorted to reading PT 365 polar compilations and mains 365 for other short subjects like say internal security, environment, science and technology, or disaster management, governance. இந்த மாதிரி இருக்கிற ஷார்ட் சப்ஜெக்ட்ஸ் எல்லாத்துக்குமே வந்து what I followed was mains 365. So these were my basic resources, and இதுலேயே வந்து I was just adding up here and there maybe. And previous year questions was again one of the Bible I would say with respect to the prep cycle, because previous year questions பொறுத்தவரை like maybe UPSC mains வந்து I think for the past 12 years 2013 and onwards வந்து இருக்கிற questions பார்த்தேன். And with respect to UPSC prelims, as many years as possible, sometimes even questions dating back to 25 years. So this was the prep cycle with respect to the resources that I used. மீதி இருக்கிற subjects like say ethics, அதுக்கு வந்து I think lexiconல இருக்கிற definitions along with some top answer copies and previous year question papers or reference material like say Shunya I.A.S or the solved papers and CSAT previous year questions. So these were my kind of resources that I kind of used. And with respect to doing these resources, I think almost 3 weeks per subject for the larger ones, and maybe disaster management, security, polar short subjects I think 2-3 days, because mains 365 is hardly or 100 to 150 pages max, and even or 1 hour if you read 10 pages, then probably you'll be able to do it over say 10 to 15 hours, which is exactly the span of 2 to 3 days. So once you're done with this, if you read it multiple times and maybe make small hints just at the side or like jot it down, that's more than enough. Note making porthavara, I don't think I made elaborate notes for anything, because if at all there's something that I forget and if it's volatile, then I used to make notes. Otherwise, I don't think there was any necessity to actually make notes. And when it comes to actually the prep cycle, I think consistency is key, and ensuring that you give enough tests, because for me prelims was a very tough task, and prelims porthavara, I think to understand how many questions you'll have to attempt and how the questions can be right or wrong. Let's say the questions are based on whether all of the above is right, whether option 2 or option 3 is right, B and C is generally right. So in the mari similar techniques I think it does work. But then to analyze all this and to understand, you'll have to have practice, and almost prelims porthavara, I think I would have given 100 odd papers, mostly full length tests and sectional tests for those areas where I was a little underconfident or weak. And mains test series porthavara, I think even prelims to mains duration you'll be able to give it, and a couple of tests of mains is what I gave just before I think towards the actual mains, and also sometime around October, November, when I was done with the subject. So if you're done with some subject, I think you can start giving tests. You don't really have to start giving sectional tests, because it doesn't really help you in the long race unless you're underconfident. So generally what maybe goes wrong with aspirants or candidates is mostly that only they follow a large number of resources, or they go very lengthy, or sometimes it's like they follow it to the teeth, like line by line, word by word. All that happens maybe for the first time you study, but then revision I think you'll have to start skimming, and you will not be able to do it line by line. So the first 1 or 2 reads you should be able to understand what is asked based on the previous year questions, or what can be asked, what is more important and what is not, and that comes just with practice, and brute practice rather. Time management porthavara, I think every 6 to 8 hours of quality time, so net time rather, is what is important, and the gross study time can be anything. It can be 16 hours, it can be 8 hours, but then the quality time at least has to be 6 hours a day. So there are some days where you can have a cheat code and maybe not study, but that is okay, as long as you ensure that you've completed the syllabus and you are well within your targets. So I think these were the major stuff that I kind of did in my prep cycle, and if you keep doing this, I think you should also be able to gain success. My cycle was more oriented towards the prelims and the mains. So prelims is around May abdina. I think from Jan onwards it was more of intensive prelims preparation, especially more Pongal kapro, Jan 15 kapro, and the interim period between August to Jan is where you keep studying your materials, and also probably try your hands out at a couple of mains question papers. So these were my kind of strategies to do something and maybe get through the attempt as well. And I think I've just been a little fortunate enough to get through, because this is an exam which almost has 15 to 20 lakh competitors, followed by the narrowing down to nearly 1,000 odd people and maybe 118 to the I.A.S. So this being a rat race, you also need some enough fortune and luck, I would say. So I've been fortunate that way, and I think I should thank my stars for that. And all this apart, I think it's also about consistency, ensuring that you still make it through, because if you have the right amount of preparation, hard and smart work, and also the resources, I'm sure you'll be able to excel and prove yourself through. So this was, I think, from my part.
பேராசிரியர் கா வெங்கடேசன் ஐயா, டிஎன்பிசி மாணவர் அனைவருக்கும் அது அவர் நல்லா தெரியும். ஏன் இந்த நேரத்தில் இதை நீங்கள் ரிவ்யூ பண்ணுறீங்க அப்படின்னு கூட கேட்கலாம். ஏன்னா இப்போ இருக்கிற டிஎன்பிசி ட்ரெண்டுக்கு ஏற்ற மாதிரி புதுசாக அப்டேஷன் ஆகி வந்திருக்கு. நிறைய தகவல்கள் கூடுதலாக உள்ளே சேர்த்துருக்கோங்க. அதனால் ஸோ இது இப்போது கண்டிப்பாக என்னது, நீங்கள் மற்ற முன்னாடி இருந்த புத்தகம் விட இப்போ இருக்கிற புத்தகம் இப்போ அப்டேஷன் ஆகி வந்திருக்குன்ற தகவல்களை தேர்வராகிய உங்களுக்கு சொல்லணுன்றதுக்காக தான் இந்த ரிவ்யூவை நாங்கள் போடுறோம். வர்த்தமானன் பதிப்பகம் மிக மிக மலிவான விலையில் தான் போடுவாங்க. பேராசிரியர் கா வெங்கடேசன் அவர்களுடைய இந்த தமிழ்நாடு நவீன காலம் தற்காலம் இந்த 2 புத்தகம் 700 ரூபாய். இதை வாங்குறவங்களுக்கு இந்த திருக்குறள் கட்டுரை முழுவதும் இலவசமாக தராங்க. 300 ரூபாய் மதிப்புள்ளது. நீங்கள் அஞ்சல் வழியாக பெறணும் அப்படின்னா ஸ்க்ரீனில் தெரிகிற வாட்ஸ்அப் நம்பருக்கு புத்தகத்தோட பேர் ப்ளஸ் உங்களுடைய முகவரி அனுப்பினா போதும். கொரியர் சார்ஜ் இலவசம்.